Yo, if you guys want the latest Apex Legends video content out there, then consider subscribing because I post daily videos for all of my viewers, giving you guys tips, tricks, updates, news, and all that other good stuff on Apex Legends. Subscribe now. Let's get on into it, guys. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back here to the channel with me, Staycation, again for another Apex Legends video. As you guys all know, we've started the series of weapons breakdowns, breaking down all the stats and the fine tunings of every single weapon category in this game. In the last episode, we took a look at the assault rifles already, so if you guys didn't already watch that, I'll have that link down in the description below. You guys can make sure to go watch that once you guys are done with this one. But today, it's all about the SMGs, guys. We are going to be taking a look at all three of the weapons in the SMG category. We have the Alternator SMG, the R99 SMG, and the Prowler Burst PDW SMG. Throughout this video, I'm going to be giving you all a brief overview of the weapons and focusing on a variety of stats such as the rounds per minute on the gun, the ammo capacity, magazine size, body and headshot damage, and also showing you guys the recoil patterns and how you could better control it. So without further ado, guys, let's dive on into this first weapon. First up, we got the Alternator SMG. This game describes this gun as being a twin barrel fully automatic submachine gun, and it runs itself off of the light ammo. So it's coming from one of the bigger ammo pools in this game, meaning it's going to be fairly easy to find around the map. Now, if I can be brutally honest with you guys, this is definitely the worst weapon in the SMG category. And if I could be really real with you guys, it's honestly one of the worst weapons in the game. So I never really used this thing past my initial landings. Once I touch down and drop onto the ground, if it's there, I'll use it for a quick period of time, but the moment I find something better, I'm sure to get that into my hands. Now, diving on into the details of the gun and specifically what it's about, alright, this gun runs itself at a magazine size with no attachments at 16 bullets. This really isn't a lot of ammo for a fully automatic submachine gun, and if you guys have ever used this weapon, you quickly know how fast you run out of bullets, so I don't really think it's very viable in the ammo capacity pool in terms of its magazine size. Moving on to the damage stats, to the body, this weapon's only going to deal a total of 13 damage per shot. That's really not impressive, and it's quite minuscule in the grand scheme of things. If you guys bump it on up to the head, it's also only going to deal 19 damage, right? So it only has a 1.5 multiplier for headshots, but that's pretty standard among the other submachine guns. Where this gun also suffers though, because even though it doesn't have the greatest damage, this is where the submachine guns can kind of make up for their bad damage stats and have a high fire rate, but this gun fails to do that as well. It only has a fire rate of 640 rounds per minute, which once again is very subpar and unimpressive, so it's kind of going to fail and miss the mark on both of those categories. So taking a look from medium range, if we hold down the trigger right now, you guys can see that the weapon recoils straight upwards. We're going to get on closer into the recoil pattern. You guys can see right there, straight up. There's a fairly easy recoil pattern to control. Now, if we take it back here to longer ranges, once again, it still goes straight up, but from longer ranges, it's pretty aggressive in terms of how high it goes. Now, this is what it looks like from medium. This is what it looks like from long. But if you guys want to know how to control the recoil pattern on this weapon, ultimately, you're just going to want to hold down the joystick a bit more, and it'll look like this. Once again, I'm just a human. It's not the best, but it'll do, and this is what it looks like if I'm using the weapon. It kind of came up and back around. So that's going to do it for the recoil pattern on the Alternator SMG. Moving on to the next weapon in this submachine gun category, we have the R99. This is really a beast of a weapon, and like I said in one of my other videos, I sometimes consider replacing the Peacekeeper shotgun with this thing because that's how much it shreds up close. The game describes it as being a rapid fire automatic submachine gun, and it also runs itself off that light ammo pool. Now, looking at its magazine size, it holds a total of 18 bullets with no attachments, which is going to be 2 more than the Alternator SMG. As you guys remember, the Alternator only holds 16 bullets, so this is a nice little upgrade. But now, if we head on over to the damage stats, it actually takes a little bit more of a hit than the Alternator SMG. It only deals a total of 12 damage to a body shot, and then if we bump things up just a little bit, it's only going to deal a total of 18 damage to the head. This also has the standard 1.5 times multiplier for headshots. But if we head on over to its fire rate, this is where once again an SMG can really make up for its poor damage stats, and the R99 does not fail to do so. Looking at this gun's fire rate, it fires a total of 1080 rounds per minute. That is absolutely insane, and it's actually the highest fire rate out of any weapon in this game. So although it does have somewhat poor damage stats, it still melts up close if you're landing all of those shots. And the last thing you may want to look at before picking up this weapon and really making it one of your mains in game, we're going to analyze the recoil pattern of the R99 as well. So taking a look at the R99's recoil pattern up close, holding it down, it's going to go straight up. You guys can see it's pretty accurate. I mean, other than its vertical recoil, there's not much to it. Now taking it back to a much further range, holding it down, it's going to do the same thing, but obviously much more aggressive. You guys can see that it kind of goes all the way up and off the rocks a lot more than if you're up close firing this thing and holding down the trigger. Now if you guys really want to take this gun to the next level and can start to control its recoil, it's not very difficult to do. You can't really account for this side swivel too much, but holding down the joystick, you can reduce its recoil all the way to this. And I mean, once again, I'm human, there's not much I could do. That's the best I'm gonna make it look, but it's a fairly accurate burst. It kind of went off to the right, that was probably my own doing, but at the end of the day, fairly accurate. So that's gonna do it in terms of the recoil pattern for the R99, and we're now gonna move on to our final submachine gun. So the last weapon on this gun list today is gonna be the Prowler Burst PDW. Honestly, I'm just not that big of a fan of it because I don't know how much I feel about burst submachine guns. I don't mind burst assault rifles, but submachine guns are a different story. The game describes this gun as being a 5-round burst submachine gun, and it runs off of heavy ammo, unlike the other submachine guns which run off of light ammo. This gun holds a total of 20 bullets in its magazine, which is going to be the highest in its class. And taking a look at the damage up close to the body, this is going to deal a total of 14 damage per one bullet. Now like I said, this is a burst submachine gun, so if you land all 5 of those shots, you're going to be dealing a total of 70 damage per burst. To the head, you're going to be dealing a total of 21 damage per one bullet, and if you land that full burst, you're going to be dealing a total of 105 damage. This submachine gun also has the standard 1.5 times multiplier for headshots, and it does have a fairly high fire rate of 800 rounds per minute. So to finish things off, we're going to be taking a look at the weapon's recoil pattern. So at medium to close range, when you tap this weapon as fast as you can, because like I said, it's a burst weapon, this is going to be the recoil pattern. It's going to go straight up. It's honestly fairly accurate, and it kind of stops halfway, goes a bit more, stops again as you keep tapping the trigger, but overall it's a very vertical recoil pattern. Now when we take it on back here to longer ranges, you guys are going to see that it once again goes straight up, but a lot more aggressively, just like the other weapons in the submachine gun category. It's actually very spread out across the burst, but at the end of the day, this is all very controllable. So if we're going back to medium range and you guys want to learn to control your weapon, just hold down the joystick a little bit more on this weapon, and you guys can see it's a pretty controlled burst. But there's that little bit of a lateral side to side action that is going to be kind of out of your control. You can control a little bit if you're really good, but at the end of the day, it's pretty difficult to do. So that's going to do it for this weapon, and that's also going to do it for the entire submachine gun category today. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Weapons Breakdown and have a better idea of which submachine gun is right for you. So if you guys like today's video, please make sure you drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel if you guys aren't already, and turn those notifications for all the latest things on Apex. I'll see you guys in the next one tomorrow. Have a great day. Peace out.